Okay, going to start this video off. This is related to the 3 rule. The 3 rule is probably the most important rule you can learn if you're boondock camping or a survivalist. Particularly if you're a survivalist and, things go real bad. Okay, now the 3 rule is you can live for 3 minutes without air, and we don't really have to worry about that part. You can only live 3 days without water. So water is about the most important survivalist thing you can learn about, because you're only going to last 3 days without water, plain and simple. Okay, and then the other 3 comes in as 3 weeks. You can live for 3 weeks without food, but you can only live 3 days without water. So this episode, I'm going to explain the 5 ways to purify water. If things really get bad and it's a natural disaster. There's all kinds of scenarios that can occur. I mean, just look at what happened in Texas last month. Nobody had electricity. That's why I got tons of solar. I also have another 600 watts on top here. I've got 1,000 watts. Okay, and the people were out of electricity for I think 5 days in some places in Texas. Water wasn't running, all kinds of issues. So it's the most important thing in my mind is water. Okay, you should always know where the nearest water source is also. Okay, if it's a stream, a lake, know where you have to go if your water turns off on your spigot or your faucets or however you want to say that. Okay. So there's 5 ways, at least 5 that I know of, and I've used them all. Okay, I'll go through those 5 methods of purifying your water, just in case you need to, and typically you're going to need to if it's not coming out of your faucet. That faucet water, city water I call it, is chlorinated. It's got chlorine in it. Okay, I guess I could start there. With Clorox Bleach, okay, which is 6% chlorine. Okay, it can be used to purify water, obviously, because almost the whole country is drinking chlorinated water. And I won't go into all the bad things about chlorinated water, but if worse comes to worse, you could use this. It's very cheap. Always have a container of Clorox. Unscented, none of those types, just a plain Clorox. 2 drops, I wrote right on here, 2 drops per quart. It'll sterilize 99.9% of all your bacteria and everything else. Okay, and that comes out to also 8 drops per gallon. So if things get bad, this would last an awful long time. But also it only has about a shelf life of about a year, so you want to replace that every year. Very cheap. That would disinfect water for a lot of people for a long time. Okay, the number 2 method is your carbon filters, basically. Now this one here, it's a small portable one, for backpacking and stuff like that. And one side actually screws right on a plastic bottle. Almost all plastic bottles, this fitting here, it screws right onto it. You fill up the plastic bottle with the bad water, screw this onto the top of the plastic bottle, and then you drink it out of this side. And it also comes, this kit comes with also a bag. You can fill up your dank water and put it on right on the back of your backpack with a hose coming down to you, so you can actually drink out of the hose while you're backpacking. Okay. Number 3. And also, because this is working like off of carbon, typically these work off of carbon, I built my own filtration system, which is running right now. Okay. Just using an inexpensive, it was like $9 stainless steel pot from Walmart. And I bought 2 Berkey filters. They're called Berkey filters. I drilled 2 holes into the bottom and tightened them up down there with the wing nuts. Okay, and then I just got some hose from Home Depot or Walmart, or not Walmart, Lowe's or Home Depot, and I got it running right now, and it's only been running about 20 minutes, and already I've got over a quart of water. It's actually spilling over at this point. So you want to have a bigger container, you know, for the water to be dripping in. This could do quite a few gallons per day, but as you can see, it's a drip thing, but it adds up real quick. Okay, so that's something I designed, and now I'm seeing people on YouTube using the same exact thing I designed this 3 or 4 years ago, and now people are coming out acting like they came up with the idea, and but that's okay, I don't care. But you can make this system really cheap. Now the Berkey filters are expensive, and I saw one guy, he's using the identical, you know, he said he went to Walmart and got this exact thing that I designed my system around, and he did everything identical to mine, except he put in ceramic filters, which are only about 10 bucks a piece. So he put 2 ceramic filters in there. And I'm not going to get into a comparison between a Berkey filter, which is about 50 bucks a piece, versus the ceramics. So, but anyway, okay, so that's another method. Obviously, boiling water will purify everything. And I've got a little fire going, some coals on, just getting ready to eat supper. I'm going to make a cheeseburger and french fries. And boiling water, as soon as you see it boil, it's done. You don't have to boil for 10 minutes. By the time the water's actually boiled, it's purified and killed all the germs and everything. I'm just going to pour this in there. It's pretty hot right now. And we got coffee in here, so let's take that off. Okay, I was at the Grand Canyon last year. So anyway, I got a nice. These are titanium, which are super light. Good to I have in my bug out bag because they're super strong and super light. Just like this. This is titanium. Super strong metal, and 1/3 the weight of cast iron or stainless steel pots. And well, cast iron is super heavy, but they're super light. So that's like goes in my bug out bag. I'm going to do an episode on bug out bags. You want to keep everything super light. You want dehydrated food. You don't want to be bringing canned foods in your backpack and all that stuff. So, but I'll show you what my bug out bag looks like. Maybe in another episode. Okay, I'm gonna put this over the fire better so it'll start cooking. I just put this on, so it'll take a little bit to get that going. And this one, this is titanium again, and one way you can use this type of pot is with a stick. You know, put it on a grill if you have one, or right on the coals. This type is a little more difficult to get out of the fireplace, so you can run a stick through it, like I'm doing here, and be long enough so it's not hot on the edge. And use 2 hands. You can put a hand on each side of the stick and just take it off the fire. And that pot there fits inside of this one, so it's 2-pot. And then, you know, it has this, the titanium spoon and fork setup also. That all, you know, collapses down and fits into that. Okay, and I guess the 5th method I wanted to get into, well, there's the charcoal method also. Here's another. Here, if you're out in the middle of nowhere and you run into problems with, you don't have a water filtration system with you, you can use a plastic bottle. With your pocket knife, just cut out a hole in the bottom. Okay, and if you can make a campfire, the charcoal in the campfire, you're going to dump that in here first. Okay, there's your campfire charcoal. Then you're going to put in small rocks and then larger rocks. You're going to fill this whole thing up. And then you're going to put your dirty water in here, and it's going to filter through all the bigger stuff. It's going to land on the top layers. And charcoal is one of the main ingredients of a Berkey filter. Charcoal has a principle where it attracts chemicals, it attracts biological stuff. It's an unusual medium, and that's why charcoal is used for most filters that you see on the market. Okay, and then you cut out your hole with your pocket knife, whatever, and then have a piece of cloth. It could be a t-shirt, it could be anything you have. Have that go through here into your container to hold, to get your good water. It's a very simple system if you know how to, you know, if you know about it. And you could do this out in the middle of nowhere. I mean, you could be drinking livestock, you know, water. You know, those little livestock ponds and stuff. If you put it through something like this, I mean, if worse comes to worse, at least this is giving you some filtration. Okay. Now the other method of filtration is if you're near a lake or a stream, the other way of helping to filter the water before you drink it, you go about a foot or two away from the edge, you know, the edge of the water, and you dig a hole. And you keep digging until the hole starts to fill up with water. And the fact that it's the water from the stream or pond or whatever is going through that foot or two of soil acts as a filter. So then you can drink that water from the hole you just dug right next to the shoreline of the water. It's going to be a little muddied looking, so again, you get out your t-shirt and you pour it through that into your plastic bottle or whatever you have. So those are the 5 techniques that you should know about. I mean, you know, these natural disasters and other things happen. And like I say, look at what just happened to Texas. No electricity, you know, everything goes into chaos. So you should know and have these things handy that I described here, because it's the most important thing. I mean, people are thinking about toilet paper and stocking up on toilet paper, you know, and food and stuff, but water is the #1 thing you should be thinking about, because you're only going to last 72 hours without it. I mean, you're going to be dead and buried within 72 hours if you don't have water. Okay, I hope you like this episode. I'm doing it in March in the deserts of California. It's beautiful. It's in the 80s today. And the desert's starting to bloom. You know, in March it starts to bloom. The plants start to get yellow flowers, and there's a hummingbird there. I got a hummingbird feeder out for him and stuff. Anyway, okay, hopefully I gave you some pointers how to make clean water. Look at all that water that's coming out of this. This system I designed 3 or 4 years ago. I designed this. Very inexpensive, especially if you use those ceramic filters. So anyway, this is Eagle Eric signing off.